Hey everybody, and welcome to I Got This with LEX and MGP. I am Lex and I've been a personal trainer over the last 5 years. Martha has been my client for 3 years, and over that time she has lost over 50 pounds and changed her entire perspective on life. Join us each week as we dive into health, mindset, and everything in between. What's up everybody? Welcome back to I Got This. Today we're talking about a little bit of a heavier topic. We're talking about having hard conversations.
So this is going to be a hard conversation.
Yep.
About hard conversations.
I don't know. I actually think it'll be easy for us because
Yeah.
we've had so many of them.
Yes, we have actually.
We've had so many of them. So
They're not even hard anymore.
they're not.
Yeah.
When you get used to having hard conversations, I don't know if that's a good thing. I think it kind of is.
Just means our relationship has evolved.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right, so I want to talk about having hard conversations, number one, with each other, number two, with yourself, and finally, when and how to get through a hard conversation. So let's talk about a few times that we've had to have hard conversations.
Now we're just cutting to the deep, right?
Yep, let's do it. Let's get into it.
No, but we have. And I think it's fair enough to say we've probably both kind of called each other out at times.
Yes.
And even in the same conversation.
Yeah. And I think
sure.
that's a healthy relationship. When you can leave it feeling like you should leave feeling good and you should leave feeling productive. And no ill will against that person at all. And I think we're really gosh darn good at that.
Yeah, no, I don't remember ever a time where we've had a difficult conversation, but didn't leave maybe stronger than we started.
Exactly.
Yeah, we always seem to be able to hash it out pretty good.
So when I think, let's talk about like one of our first hard conversations.
Or early on.
Early on.
Yeah. It probably had to do, I would imagine, because it was probably 2.5 years ago, but it probably had to do about results, I would imagine.
Yes.
At the time.
Yeah.
So, and I was probably not satisfied,
Yep.
as I get impatient
Yep.
and stubborn.
Yep.
Couple Tauruses here.
Yes. 2 Tauruses.
And
Very hard heads.
you were probably frustrated with me because I was frustrated with my results
Yeah.
and my reaction to them.
And I think that was an early thing for me as a trainer was I would get frustrated when you didn't see how well you were doing. And I would have to, and I've gotten better at pointing out, hey, look at this change. Like you wouldn't see this naturally. Now I get the pictures out, the before and after, and I literally point with a pen and circle the changes. I'm like, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. But early on, you don't see those things.
I would not see a movement on the scale, let's say.
Yeah.
And prior to this fitness journey, everything was tied to the scale. I'm
Right.
going to lose 10 pounds or I'm going to do, and so if the scale wasn't moving, I felt like I wasn't making progress. And you'd be like, well, let's look at these non-scale victories. Martha, your inches are down. Your pant size is down. Your body fat percentage is
Yes.
down. But the scale's not down.
Yes. And I would have to sit down and say to you, like, hey, you're being so hard on yourself. Are you going to and then sometimes I would even challenge you and I would say like, well, are you going to stop?
Right.
Are you going to stop because the scale's not down? And you were never the person that would ever, you would never be like, well, no, you'd be like, no, I'm never stopping.
Yeah. Like to the
You're
point
the
where
first
yelling.
to say, I'm never stopping.
No, I was like, what can we do more? And you're like, there is no more.
Yes. And that was the other hard conversation I would have to have with you. Hey, you're literally doing everything that you could possibly do. I can't give you any more without it being taxing to you mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Right.
That's too much. It's not fun anymore, right?
Right.
And I think that's the conversation I still have to have with you. I think more recently, one of our conversations was you always want to challenge, right? Do you remember this one?
Yeah.
It was
6 months ago or so.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there because I had you do our January challenge along with Whole 30, and then after
Just pile it on.
Yes, and then we did like a race, and then after that it was like a 5K, and like you were always training for something,
Right.
And I had to sit down and say to you like, Martha, no more challenges. That can't be the thing that keeps you going, right? Like that's not healthy. And we had to talk about that. And because you said, I think the first thing that came up, you were like, Alexis, what's my next challenge?
Yeah. What's my goal now?
Yeah.
What am I going to do next?
And I was like, how about you just maintain your health and wellness?
How about you just be coming to the gym and working out?
Yeah. How about you just be, right?
Right.
What was the day back in October or September where we hashed it out? Like
That was a real good one.
That was a good one. What was that conversation about?
So that was also results based, because results come and go. I mean, they do.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes my body just whooshes and fat falls off like it's nobody's business. And other times it's just like, nope, we're sticking around.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
And this is one of those, I felt like it was sticking around. It was probably the beginning of the school year. I always do a little bit better in the summer. It's just easier to be active and be outside, and I'm not working because I'm a teacher, and you know, there's all that extra activity. And then you go back to school and you're because we were a little bit virtual this year, you know, pandemic stuff, probably a little bit less movement than I used to, maybe a little bit more sedentary. And it was actually the day after we did the 5K that we had this.
Yes, it was.
So
the
we were
day
both
after.
grouchy anyway.
Yeah.
From the 5K.
From running. Just kidding.
No, not. Because I think I sent you a text that morning saying, I don't even know if I can stand. And you said, I can't either. And I said, okay, I feel better.
Yeah. I was like, well, my hips hurt. So
not that I wanted you to be in pain, but I felt good that I wasn't
very
alone.
Sore. But
anyway, but yes, so we had a hard conversation, and you said, well, let's not train today. Let's assess. And I think I was like, are you effing kidding me right now?
Yeah. You were like, are you kidding me?
I was not in the mood for this.
Yes. And I think I was like, obviously sometimes I just really don't care. I'm like, you're doing it anyways, not because like I've got that ego of you do what I say.
No.
It was more because like, hey, you gotta be ready mentally for whatever gets thrown your way.
It's time.
It's time. We were way past due to assess as well, reassess, take your measurements, body fat percentage, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so we did have that hard conversation because once again, the scale had stalled a little bit and I was frustrated.
Yeah. And so we started I always start my conversations at the beginning of the hour, right? I always want to start with saying, hey, you're being too hard on yourself. There's nothing more that you could possibly do. You're doing amazing and results will come. It takes years and years of consistently working on yourself to get results. And you sitting there and being frustrated and being like, well, but tell me what more to do. And me saying, there's nothing else, right? And almost getting not mad and frustrated, but almost to a point where it's like, talk to me more about how you're feeling. And every time I would try to peel back a layer. Okay, well, so this is how you feel like you're not doing enough. Well, is it time? And then I'd say, okay, and then we'd kind of get over one hump. And then I'd say, now tell me again, how are you feeling? And it'd be a consistent hash of like, okay, well, keep telling me how you're feeling until we can get to the root of the problem and until we can feel better.
And honestly, if you remember that day, I finally admitted that I hadn't been really sleeping.
Yes. It took, I think it was until the end of the hour where you're like, well, I haven't slept, like I've been sleeping 4 or 5 hours.
Not because I was trying not to. I literally was
just hadn't been sleeping.
Yeah, I was having a lot of stress in my life at that point, and being able to get to sleep and then stay asleep and get quality sleep was not happening.
Exactly.
And that probably also contributed to my mood.
So 2 things. Number 1, it contributed to your results. Your cortisol levels were high. If you're not resting and sleeping, you're absolutely not going to be able to see the same results as if you're relaxed and like able to really rest your body and mind. And then number 2, of course, your moods are not going to be great, right? Like when I don't sleep, I am a train wreck. I'm crying every day. If I don't sleep, I'm just crying.
Yeah, and I'm grouchy.
So there we go. So it took us a while to get there, but we got there. And how did we come out better for it?
Absolutely.
We had a solution.
Yeah, we had a solution. We talked about it. It wasn't personal.
No.
It was just, how are we going to fix this? How can we move forward?
Yeah, it was getting over something together.
Yeah. And we've come to the point, too, where we now can have hard conversations and we know we're a team.
Oh, exactly.
And so we're going to be fine.
It's never you versus me. It's you and me versus the issue, which I think is the truest team there is. And I think a lot of times, so number 1, you call me out, too, in the right ways when I need it. Tell everybody how you do that.
Well, there are times, I mean, we don't obviously train every single day. That would be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous.
We would love it, but no.
But that's a lot.
So there are times where if I'm not training with you in person, that I need you to put a workout in for me, or at least suggest what I should be doing. And so there's, we have an app that we use for that. And so sometimes earlier in the day, maybe at lunch or something, I'll look and see, what am I doing today?
And it's not in there.
And there's nothing there.
You're like,
and then
okay.
Maybe I'm resting. No, because she puts that in there too.
Yes, I would put rest in.
So, I'll have to call her out. Like,
yeah,
dude, I need you to do your job.
Hey,
I need a workout.
Can you put your workout? Can you put my workout in? This is what I'm paying you for.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I don't even feel bad in one iota. I'm going to own up to it too. I'm going to say, hey, no, like there are 365 days a year. I try to program the best that I can consistently for 6 weeks. Sometimes like I miss a few, or there'll be a week where I'm like, oh my God, I didn't put any workouts in and I just was behind or whatever. Yeah. Right.
And I get that I'm not your only client.
No, but it'll be, yeah, exactly. But the fact that you can say it without being weird or awkward about it, just saying it and me being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Usually it's a, hey, am I supposed to work out today? Wink, wink.
I love that. I'm like, well, you know the answer to that, so of course you are. Which is that's a very special rapport. And I think as soon as you have that, are able to have conversations, hard conversations both ways with your trainer or your whoever is pushing you, your coach in any way, saying, hey, this is what I need from you. How can we get a solution? You're going to have a better outcome. But it's not, hey, I'm mad at you for that. Say, hey, here's what I need from you. How can we get a better solution together?
Yeah, and we've had other conversations too where I've texted you and said, hey, when I get there today, we need to talk about XYZ.
You give me 3. Sometimes you send me a
little
morning
agenda
at 5 a.m. You're like, here's our agenda. These are the topics that I need help covering. And that helps me as your coach too. Yeah. I don't know what's on your mind unless you tell me. And that's very, very important too. Say, here's what I'm mentally struggling with.
Yeah. Can we talk about this when I get there?
Yes.
Trying to give you a heads up.
Which helps me format, okay, what is she probably thinking? How can I help her in any way I may need to help her, which is really good. I do want to talk about hard conversations I've had with other clients. Clients getting upset with their results when they're not actually putting in the work. That is a big one. That's a big one. And I'm a result, every coach says they're a results-based coach, but some clients, so some people you'll be like, okay, this person isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm just going to let them keep going.
Yeah. I can only do so much, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing my job, right? I'm doing my job, but they're not doing their part. So whatever. But no, that's not how this works. I want this person to get results because I want them to make their life better. And the hard conversation absolutely has been sitting down and saying, hey, you're not seeing results because you're not doing what I ask you to do. And yeah, I can babysit you and text you every single day saying, hey, where's the food I'm asking for? What are you putting in your body? You're not updating it. Or, hey, you're not coming in for your workouts. But I can't babysit you to a T. I try my dangest to do it every day. I mean, grown-ups, yeah. If you don't have, I can help discipline you the best that I can. And I try my darnest to text you every day. I really try. It's getting harder with more clients, obviously. But I'm going to try and keep you accountable, but you got to keep yourself accountable to an extent. You got to try. If you're not even trying to get out of bed and make a better decision, then what am I doing here? You're wasting my time.
Right. Now, I actually like it when you say, hey, grade yourself. How did you do?
You like that?
Yeah.
When I say, hey, I say,
I know what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? I'm like, busted.
Yes. I literally will text you on Monday morning. I'll say, okay, grade yourself. A minus, B minus, C, D, whatever. Give me a grade on how you think you did on your nutrition this weekend.
Yeah, usually it's like, hey, teacher, grade yourself.
Yes, grade yourself. And sometimes I'll have a lower grade in mind, and my clients will give me a high, an A. Well, I think A+. And I'm like, do you really think A+? Do you really think those five mojitos needed to be drinking?
Is that an A+?
That's an A+. Which we'll talk more about on path, off path, and good grades. But yeah, having that hard conversation is going to get you a better result. I'm not here to waste my time or your money. Why even spend this much money? Training is not cheap, right?
Right.
So that's very important. Another hard conversation I've had recently was I asked someone to be a leader for me on a team. And being a leader means being motivating, being positive, and not letting any negative perspective or negativity fester in a group. Because once negativity festers,
It's contagious.
it's contagious.
Yeah.
And when negativity is contagious in a large group of people, what happens?
It all falls apart.
All falls apart. And I said to this person, I said to them, I said, hey, your mindset is not what I know you can do. I know you can do better. And that person said, kind of fought me on it, like, well, this is the best I got. And I said, that's not the best you got. I know you can do more, and I know you can do better. And it took until the end of the session, and it still wasn't great. And when that person left, it still didn't feel like, I was like, I don't know, maybe that person isn't happy with me. But came back a few days later, and that person said to me, hey, that hard conversation was the most respect I've had for you as a coach ever. I said, really? And he said, yeah, I think that the fact that you were willing to make me uncomfortable and not like you and have this hard conversation about how you really feel and the standards that I can actually reach made me respect you as a coach so much more. I think that was the hardest conversation I've had in a long time.
Well, and it wasn't about being liked.
No.
It was about doing the right thing.
Exactly.
And that's not always comfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
And I have those conversations quite a bit with my students because I teach teenagers.
Yeah.
And, you know, they always have, well, my parents or that. And I say, yeah, great. Maybe your home life isn't perfect. Or
There's
maybe,
always an excuse.
or your siblings or whatever.
Right.
You have to decide, is it time to be self-responsible and rise above?
Yeah.
And it's not going to be easy.
No.
And, okay, so your parents aren't putting any pressure on you to go to college. Do you want to go to college?
Yeah.
Then you need to pass these classes. You need to do well.
Yeah.
And so we have those conversations. And sometimes I feel like no one's ever just given it to them straight.
I feel like the fact that you're doing that with teenagers is beyond healthy, beyond good, because I do believe that a lot of people don't get that hard conversation until much later in life.
And you know what? Those students that I've had those hard conversations with, those are the students that come back to visit.
Those are the ones that
invite you to graduation.
And love you the most.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you didn't let them pass by without telling them you know they can do better and really just believing in them. That's what you did.
You have the ability.
Yes.
Yeah. And I always tell them there's this quote that says, I can show you the path, but I can't walk it for you.
Exactly.
You've got to do it.
You have to.
I will lay it out there for you, but you've got to do it.
Exactly. And having the the triumph to talk about it, I think is so powerful. For sure. Let's talk about having hard conversations with yourself.
Okay.
What are some hard conversations you've had to have with yourself?
I mean, some reality checks.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we can tie it back to this fitness journey. It can be tied to other things as well. But, you know, if I'm going to be successful here, if I'm going to commit to trying to be healthier, to trying to maybe lose some fat, to becoming stronger, then I'm going to have to make some changes.
Right.
I'm going to have to, you know, choose to eat healthier. I'm going to have to choose, to figure out how to get sleep.
Yes.
I'm going to not be able to have drinks on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
Exactly.
You know, these are things I'm going to have to choose to get my water in.
Every single day, you almost have to rehab that conversation every day with yourself. You almost have to wake up out of bed and say back and have that conversation again and again and say, I will not settle for less. I will not do less than I can do. And sometimes you're at a very low point when you have that conversation. And sometimes you have to have it over and over again with yourself before it hits. But your gut knows, your intuition knows.
I often have that conversation with myself as I'm journaling in the morning.
That's awesome. That's have that time to do it.
That's when I do it, usually.
Yeah.
And it's usually like, you know, I've done great this week. You know, keep it up, you know, being my best, you know, my own cheerleader.
Yes.
And other times it might be like, I can do better.
Yeah. Girl, you can do better.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I self-sabotaging?
Yes.
Or whatever it is, it might not even be that big of a deal, but sometimes I have to call myself out.
Yeah. I think that's every human. I think a lot of my own, sometimes I have hard conversations about my own, either it's mentality or attitude. It's like, hey, why are you acting like this? Why are you being like this? Or it's saying, hey, I know I can do better. I can be better. I can have it all. So girl, start acting like you can do it all, because you can.
Yeah.
It's having a hard conversation could be anything. Normally it's knowing that you can do better.
And being able to have that hard conversation with myself, or like you and I've had hard conversations, obviously, but I feel like I'm more comfortable having them with other people as well.
Isn't that crazy? Again,
I'm not saying it's super comfortable. It's not something I look forward to always.
No, it's something you have to like prep for and
think about.
Take a big gulp and then go into it. It definitely still takes courage, but you get more comfortable being uncomfortable.
And like it ties back maybe to that confidence or whatever, but
it does.
I feel better when sometimes I have to let other people know what I need from them.
Yeah.
Or don't need from them.
Exactly.
As the case might be.
Yeah.
And and I realize that's not everybody's in the same place as me.
Yeah.
Regarding those conversations either.
Yeah.
So that can be tricky at times.
That's hard too, because when somebody feels uncomfortable and you have to make that leap of trying to make them feel comfortable is difficult.
But it's definitely something I've become better with in the last few years. You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable too, to have those hard conversations. And that's not easy for people.
And real with yourself. Yes. Vulnerable, real with what you are actually allowing yourself to do or not do.
Because it's easier just to keep it in and
pretend everything's fine.
Fine and smile and
And you can go on years like that.
Yeah.
Pretending everything's fine. It's fine. We're fine.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's good. I always think of that meme of that dog in the burning room.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm fine. and it's like, how long do you want to sit in that burning room for, though?
Yeah.
How long do you want to sit there pretending life is good? Or like you're all right? Or like what's going on is fine? Like it's not. You need to have the hard conversation, whether it's with yourself or whoever it may be.
And honestly, once that's out there and you've opened up with that, I feel like that's where progress starts getting made.
Absolutely.
With mindset, with everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then when the mindset's in the right place, then the body follows, and it's all tied together.
There's no way you can get results, and I guarantee this. You could be as healthy as you want to be, but if you're not dealing with what's in your head and your heart, you will never be healthy. I think that's a quote I saw on Instagram. And it was one of my favorites. But you got to deal with the hard stuff for anything to be easy.
Yeah. Well, you've kind of beat that into me from the beginning.
Well, good. So. I'm glad I did. And I know for life to be good, you gotta have those hard conversations. So.
You do. And you and the people that you're willing to have those hard conversations with are the people that you want to have. Yeah,
exactly. And those people end up being your biggest supporters, your biggest raving fans.
And if they're not, well,
time to go.
Yeah.
Well, we do want to hear from you guys, any hard conversations that you guys may have had. I want to hear about your insight as well. So thank you all for listening.
And just remember, it's okay to approach and have those hard conversations. Remember, I got this. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed what you heard, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. Also, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at I Got This Pod. See you next week. And remember, I got this.